Welcome back to CrossTalk. We're here with my brother Harley Kolterman, and I know my kids could use some advice, and I would rather it come from you than me.
Well, I think that's maybe the case with all of us. You know, it's a little easier to talk to somebody else's kids. And I don't feel like I'm the expert on the subject, but you know, one of the obvious things is number one, let's go back to the Word of God, because that's got to be the basis. And if that's not the basis, then you maybe have to ask, why are you doing what you're doing if you're a pastor? Secondly, I think you have to have in your heart that this is not something to try. If you're called to be a pastor, you better decide, I'm not going to quit. And if you have that in your heart and you really love people and you care about people, reaching them in a way that they can understand, a relational way, is difficult, especially as the numbers begin to add up. But it's not impossible if you can reproduce yourself in some other folks that will help you and have the same spirit of reaching people with the gospel and ministering to them.
Training leaders to be able to do ministry.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing I think that just comes to mind really quickly is that you really can't disciple someone who's not been won. And
boy,
you know,
is that the truth or what?
You know, a lot of times we're trying to do that. You know, we just, you know, we've got this house full of people, and somehow we got to minister to everybody, and somehow we hope that the classes and all of those other things have gotten through. But many times people have not really been won to Jesus. They've not really surrendered to Him. And you got a tough job if you're going to disciple a person who hasn't really come to Jesus. And people may have said a sinner's prayer. They may have, you know, walked the aisles. They may have done things. They've been baptized, confirmed, and other things that happen in church settings. And they may be convinced, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, I'm a follower of Christ. But if some transformation hasn't taken in the heart, and if there's no hunger, it's really, really a tough thing to make a disciple of somebody like that. Jesus had some of those problems too, though, so
yes,
it's okay.
Yes, He did. Well, Pastor Harley, I would like to invite you to come to the next program, because I want to talk about changing the world, and you're involved in that, and we share some of the same vision for going out into the world. But before we close, I do want to tell you that what my brother said in a real nice way is there's a lot of people who darken the doors of a church, but they may not be Christian. They may not be saved, using a Christianese term. I know when I came to faith, I had real long hair and a real long beard. And I remember the day I got saved, I asked the pastor at this little church who I'd never visited before, I said, do I need to cut my hair? And he looked at me and he laughed and he said, well, it's sort of like this, son. He says, Jesus needs to catch them before he skins them. And that sort of stuck with me. I did cut my hair and I did cut my beard, and I don't do the things I used to do. But you know, that's kind of the mark of a Christian. We're not supposed to do some of the things that we used to do that were inappropriate. If you're in church and you're still doing the things that are inappropriate, you should ask yourself what the disconnect is. Are you living in sin, if you happen to be living in sin because you're walking in disobedience, or are you just simply not saved? There's a difference. And it ain't for me to tell you, but I would suggest you might want to look deep, ask God, and then do what the Lord shows you. I appreciate you joining us here in this program at CrossTalk. I hope you'll come back next time, because we're going to talk about some extremely exciting things that are happening in the world. God is revealing Himself to a lost, dying world. Till then, shalom and God bless.